What's going on, you guys? This is your boy RBG, aka the RandomBlackGamer, bringing you another video on Marvel Spider-Man 2. The game just went gold, the ads are starting to come in rapidly, so it's only right that I give you guys my thoughts on these things. Now, admittedly, I have been just playing the background because I feel like I want to be on the outside looking in and actually enjoying the ad campaign as it ramps up, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I do get burnt out leading up to the game's release when I'm doing extensive coverage on it. And once I actually do get my hands on it, I still feel like I'm working because I have to beat the game in a timely manner and give you guys my thoughts on it. So yeah, if you're wondering why it hasn't just been this breakneck pacing of me just dealing out all this content to you guys, it's because I want to just sit back and enjoy the ride. But I feel like I've taken a long enough break to go ahead and bring you guys something new. Once again, I want to thank Insomniac and Playstation for giving me this content to bring you guys. They were kind enough to fly me out and experience the game for myself, and also I want to thank them for showing mercy on me for accidentally giving you guys that coverage early before the embargo lifted. I can proudly say that my head is safely on my shoulders and all my limbs are intact, and me and PlayStation will definitely be doing business again in the near future. So yeah, mistakes happen and life goes on. But yeah guys, about that combat in Marvel Spider-Man 2, the last time we did a video we talked about the web swinging, which has seen great improvements. Insomniac seems adamant about pushing that SSD hardware to its limits, which can be seen at how fast Spidey moves across New York. The web wings look like they're gonna get you where you need to go within a flash, and not to mention that since we do have two Spider-Man coexisting in the same game, we can easily transition between the two of them. So shout outs to Insomniac on that end. But today we're gonna be talking about the combat, because I felt like that was something that could use a lot of work. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I think the combat did what it needed to do in the earlier Spider-Man games. It made you feel very fluid and it made you deal out a lot of damage to enemies. But in my honest opinion, I think the thing that really boosted the fun factor to that was the gadget system and the suit mods, because outside of the combat there weren't any particular moves that you could actually do. Everything just kind of goes at random. Depending on a certain action, you could probably get off like a launcher, or you could swing an enemy into the air, but there aren't any key inputs you had to execute to do moves and stuff. It kind of feels like you're coasting on this power trip with Spidey. You know you're gonna do all these different cool things, but it's just gonna vary in terms of the animations. Now what I will say is that Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales did step it up a bit, since you have those bioelectricity abilities at your disposal. While many have argued that this game didn't really bring anything to the table and that it's a glorified demo as opposed to a full-fledged game, I would argue that it actually does a good job of setting up things that we're gonna see in Marvel Spider-Man 2. In the previous video I stated that the free fall pose system was going to make its way, and they're going to give Peter Parker all these different things, because we see Peter Parker free falling while solving a Rubik's Cube, and he's going to be doing a lot of other stuff too. And if you guys remember some of my coverage on Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, I said that his electric venom blast combat was going to be the blueprint to how the symbiote worked for Peter Parker in Marvel Spider-Man 2. And as I've seen, that's the case for this game. Everything works just like how Miles' stuff works. So yeah, shout outs to Miles, man. But for the most part, the combat side of things has remained the same. You still press square to do most of your attacks, with the occasional dodging by using the circle button, and you can vault over enemies if they're wielding something like a shield to protect themselves. I'm still standing on the notion that the combat mechanics could use a bit more complexity and a deeper dive into what they can actually do. Like, I'm more of a free flow guy who enjoys a challenge like we get in the Batman Arkham series, where you get all these different enemies and you have to make sure that you're on point. Given that Insomniac borrows a lot of games that Rocksteady Studios introduced in the Batman Arkham franchise, I thought that would be something that they would really just put a lot of emphasis in, but that's not what we got in the previous installments. But I think one of the biggest things that's going to change this game for the better is the new parry system that they're going to be implementing, because that's something that I really wanted to see. It's one thing to spam the dodge button and hope that you don't get a hit, but it's another to stand right in front of an enemy as they're about to deal a critical blow, but you can manage to block or counter it. By Insomniac Games adding this new feature only makes it to where there's a big challenge ahead of you. You're actually going to have to be a bit more observant when it comes to all the different enemy types and attacks, and you're going to have to decide if you want to dodge an attack or parry it by mastering your timing. I could tell that the programmers put a lot of thought in this, and they actually emphasized on it a lot during the meeting we had with them. And I noticed, like, when I was playing the game, one of the guys that was behind me who aids in assisting the players, they actually told me to make sure I timed this thing correctly. So yeah, that's gonna be your go-to thing, pressing L1 and waiting till the little indicator pops up, which changes from yellow when it's about to come and hit you to red when it's close to dealing out that attack. So I'm guessing that you have to press L1 as soon as it turns red so you can execute that proper counter. And when you do, it's a thing of beauty. And I feel like that's going to add more immersion to the boss fights, because that's another thing. The boss fights, you actually have to use this thing a lot too, because when I was fighting the lizard man, I had to make sure I was really on my P's and Q's with this thing. And I messed up a lot too. Like, this thing, it's going to be very difficult to master, because we've been playing the Spider-Man games for so long that we kind of get stuck on that antiquated style of pressing the circle button and constantly dodging, which you can still do if you just so choose. But I feel like the players are going to get a better payoff if they choose to do a perfect parry. Not only is it going to stun the enemy, but it's also going to grant you a little window of time to retaliate with more powerful attacks. And if I'm not mistaken, based on the enemy that you're facing, the animations can change. You know, I think I noticed that the lizard, when he tries to hit you with a tail whip, Peter kind of like deflects it off and then he hits it with a big boot, so to speak. So yeah, learn that parry, people. But anyways, moving on, we got to talk about some of the other features in regards to the gadget system that they have, because now everything, you know, since they have the symbiote suit, things are going to be changed based on that. You know, you can choose if you want to have more symbiote based attacks or the Iron Spider mechanical arm attacks. And as I mentioned earlier, these things function very similar to Miles's bioelectricity venom attacks. There'll be a total of 4 abilities that you can actively use, and they'll all be mapped to the L1 button with 4 corresponding face buttons. And as you can tell by the footage that we've been getting, all the symbiote moves are very devastating. Like, these things are so powerful to the point to where they had to put these things on a cooldown time to keep us from spamming through the game. I love how there's a context sensitive aspect to each move, because as you know, like I said, the animations vary depending on what kind of enemy type you have. Say for example, you're fighting the lizard and you want to grab him some type of way, the symbiote will reach out and it will slam his face into the pavement. I wish I could have seen how those things changed based on the attacks that you do with the mechanical arms, but unfortunately my mind was all over the place and I was just trying to make do with what time I had while I was playing the game. And at first I was having a hard time figuring out which ones I wanted to use out of the symbiote attacks and the mechanical legs, but I found myself enjoying the mechanical legs a bit more because of how flexible they are. If you want to go all JoJo's Bizarre Adventure order on one of your enemies, you can let out this aggressive barrage of little swipes at your enemies, and similar to the uppercut that Peter does to launch an enemy in the air, you can use the web arms to give you a little more oomph to deliver a phenomenal aerial combo before Peter lands with this ground stomp. Like, it's a thing of beauty. Like, I didn't expect to use these things while I had the symbiote suit, because I was like, okay, there has to be some kind of context to this. Like, maybe there's a story where Peter loses the suit and he realizes that he needs the extra abilities, so he makes the mechanical arms. But no, you get the mechanical arms right off the bat with the symbiote abilities. And I love how Insomniac Games has added this new combat upgrade system where you can essentially upgrade those moves and get different moves too. Not only that, but you can swipe or shuffle the moves around. So if you want to go for a more symbiote or mechanical arm focused style, you can do that. Or you can actually mix them up and go for mechanical arms and the symbiote tendrils. The choice is yours, and you're gonna get a chance to unlock all these moves, so you're gonna really just go ham with all the different kind of ways you can mix and match these moves. Like, I really think they did a phenomenal job putting this in, because as I mentioned earlier, the combat was very dependent on the gadgets and sometimes the suit mods, because we know suit mods come with their own unique ability and you can just tailor it to any suit you want, but that doesn't really seem to be the general focus in this game. I'm not sure if we'll still be able to have those special added abilities that come from the different suit mods, but I'm hoping so, because I noticed that they do have this super move that you can execute once your meter builds up. For example, when you press down L3 and R3 at the same time, Peter can perform this thing called the symbiote surge, which basically allows you to go on this crazy power trip and immobilize anybody, no matter if they're using a shield or any other kind of big ballistic weapon. The only way I can describe it is like if you were able to have an unlimited supply of finishers where you press triangle and circle and you just deal out a lot of damage. And I think that also puts an extra boost to some of your basic attacks too. I could be wrong, but hey, we'll just have to wait and see once we get our hands on the final version of the game. And I feel like I should harp on some of Miles' combat abilities, but I kind of feel like they're on the same spectrum as his solo game, except the only thing is that there have been added animations to make it a bit newer. I feel like Peter Parker just deserved to have the most focus up in this one because everything for the most part just seems foreign to his gameplay mechanics. So yeah, but anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video because as always I have a blast making these for you. If there's anything that I may have missed or something else that you guys want me to talk about, let me know in the comment section below. As always, I ask you to like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down if you want. But if you really enjoyed the video, I'd ask that you share it with all your friends and followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing is caring. But once again, this is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer. I'll catch you guys on another one. Peace out.